If you're dating after 40 and you keep attracting Mr. Unavailable on repeat, and what you really want is lasting love with Mr. Right, you're in the right place. In this episode, I break down why healthy love feels unfamiliar and why that's not a red flag. Ready? Let's go. I'm so excited to be here for our first episode of season 5. And season 5 is going to be about embodiment. It's becoming the woman who naturally attracts healthy love. So let's dive into that today. This is why healthy love feels unfamiliar and why that's not a red flag. I want you to stop saying to yourself, well, it's me. I'm screwed up. I've never had healthy love. I don't really know what it feels like. There's nothing wrong with you. It's just what you've been used to, maybe the way you were raised, what you experienced in life, your role models. And I've talked a lot about that in the previous seasons of just how you grew up obviously informs the kind of people you attract into your life or that you're drawn to. And being in that pattern of chasing. And that's why I talk about chasing so much, because the chasing energy is when you feel like you're not worthy or you feel like you have to do something in order to have the love that you desire or be performative in some way. And that's just not true. And so we go from chasing to choosing. And that's the shift I want to talk about today. And stop mistaking calm for boredom. I have a little story about that. When I was dating, even in my 40s and late 30s, when I was feeling more and more like, oh, this is never going to happen, maybe love isn't for me, all of those kind of feelings, I remember realizing one day that the way I felt about being attracted to someone was a shocking kind of feeling, like an electric pulse and a cattle prod in my stomach when I was attracted to someone. And it always set off my nervous system as high danger. But I thought, oh, this electric kind of feeling must say that I'm really attracted to that person and that there's a connection between us. There's some kind of an electricity between us. And I used to think that was great. So I would double down on that if I would feel that sense of the cattle prod. And another way I would describe it is being on a roller coaster. You're on a roller coaster and you've just eaten 5 chocolate bars and you're high on that adrenaline. Oh, I have to try my best to keep this guy's interest or double down on this. That's when you're equating chemistry through anxiety, through setting your nervous system off on a tangent. Think about any time that you've been dating where you feel that jolt of electricity, but it's really adrenaline and it's a low grade or even a very obvious jolt of anxiety. And you're thinking, is this what I'm supposed to be feeling? Is this what I'm supposed to be moving towards? Because when I'm with someone who's really calm or it feels safe, that feels boring, or it feels like there's no potential there, or there's no attraction. And I say attraction in quotes. Do a little bit of reflection right now and think about that. Have you ever felt that jolt of electricity that doesn't feel safe? It doesn't feel like you're really going to be held. It feels like a minefield. And equating that with attraction. So that's what we're talking about. That's what might feel familiar to you. It doesn't mean that you can't train yourself to not feel attracted to that. And it doesn't mean that there's anything wrong with you. And there's certainly a lot of women out there who have experienced this, including myself. And I had to examine that. First of all, notice that I was feeling adrenaline and that I was feeling unsafe and that it felt like an adventure I had to embark on, but like almost having to jump off a cliff kind of adventure. It's not something you really want to be doing. And it doesn't feel safe to your body. Your body's trying to tell you something. When you feel that sense of comfort, of safety, of quiet, calm sort of connection, then you're like, well, there's really nothing there. And I've heard so many women say that. I've heard them say, well, I went on a date and I didn't really feel anything. And what they actually meant when we broke it down, when I helped them through this realization, was that they didn't feel that familiar cattle prod. They didn't feel the familiar adrenaline pulsing through their body. And so they immediately went to the other side and said, I don't feel anything. So we want to see the extreme, the both sides. It's like, I don't feel anything, or I feel like I just got off a roller coaster and I've had 5 chocolate bars, or the cattle prod, or whatever analogy you want to use, where your body is buzzing and pulsating from a threat to the body. That's what the body is saying. And you're equating it to, wow, there's so much energy around us. This must mean that there's a huge connection and there's potential here. And this is where we have to realize and make that decision to say, I know what's at the end of this road. I know what going down this path is going to lead to. Because if you think about those situations and if you followed through with them and had a relationship with someone where it started off like that with the cattle prod, I would be willing to make a bet that it didn't really end well, or that it just definitely wasn't that connection that you thought it was. And it was actually a very trying and taxing kind of experience for you. So that's the first thing I'm going to talk about, is this identity shift. It's going from chasing. The chase feels like a hunt. It feels exciting, but it's also dangerous. It's also very wearing on your body. And that's the chase. It's exhausting. You're running and running until you exhaust yourself. And the faster you run and the further you run, the more the person runs away and the more elusive they become. And so what happens? Your energy just gets depleted. And the end of that cycle is when the adrenaline burns out and when you're in a total exhaustion. And that's why women will say to me, I'm just so exhausted from dating. I'm so tired of the dating experience. And what they're really saying is, I'm so tired of this chasing, not necessarily the dating, because we can do it in a way that I want you to think about it as choosing. What is the identity of the woman who no longer chases? And again, you can take some time if you want to reflect on this. Who would you be as a woman who no longer chases? What does she do? I like to ask my clients to go through a scenario like, what would you do right now if you met your dream guy? He's literally in front of you, or you're in a coffee shop and you start talking to someone and you're like, this is amazing. This feels like home. It feels like I've known him before, or I feel really comfortable. I can be myself. This is the healthy kind of interaction that you can have. And what would you be doing? I know me in my earlier days before my deep healing, I would have probably run in the other direction. I would have been like, this seems terrifying. Like, this is weird. I don't know if I can live up to this. I don't know if I can be who I need to be. Am I good enough to be this woman who can be in a relationship that is this stable and safe and calm and long-lasting potential? Think about the characteristics and the identity of the woman who no longer chases, who is choosing to have that kind of love. And of course, we have to believe that it is possible. That's one thing. And believe that someone like that exists. And so can you start with those two beliefs? Can you believe that it's possible? Even if right now unhealthy love feels familiar to you and a healthier kind of love doesn't feel familiar, it feels foreign, and you feel like running and freaking out and being like, I can't handle this. This is too normal. I do that in quotes. This is too grown up even. That's another way that you can look at it. The women I've worked with, it's often a feeling of not being up to the challenge, not feeling mature enough in that area. So maybe you're extremely good at your career and you're a boss and you're doing all the things and you're very much a leader. But then when it comes to relationships, when it comes to love and dating, you feel like a child. You feel unprepared or ill-equipped, like you don't have the proper tools for that. And that's what this podcast is for, that to give you those tools. If you feel like, I don't really know what I'm doing, this feels really unfamiliar, this kind of healthy love and healthy attraction, feeling almost bored, your system is going to tell you, this is boring, I don't feel anything. And then going through the process of saying, is that really true? And who do I need to be to question that and say, well, maybe there's someone here with real potential. And can I just move past my immediate reaction or my beliefs of what this means and try it out, try it on? Can you believe that that kind of love is possible? That kind of relationship is possible, and that someone like that exists for you? A lot of women I've worked with, their biggest fear is that that right person for them doesn't exist. Let's start there and then say, can we just throw that out the window? Because of course they exist. There's plenty of opportunity for that kind of love, and it is possible. Now that we've thought about the identity of you as a woman who no longer chases, we can go more into that and say, why healed women don't feel chemistry with unavailable guys anymore, with the chasing kind of energy. Because when you get the identity of, I'm a receiver of healthy love, I intend to have that kind of healthy love, then someone who might have been appealing in the past or like chasing after them is so not worth it. I like to say, not my circus, not my monkeys. It's kind of that feeling of like, wow, that would be a real waste of time. And I don't have time for that. I'm too old for that. Or I'm over that. I don't want to go through that again. I know what it does to me and I know what's at the end of it. I really know the end of the story and I don't want to experience that again. That's the kind of energy that you get into. It's like when you're healed through this and when you step into that identity, first of all, those kind of guys don't really show up anymore because they're kind of like off your radar and they don't even see you. So in a way, you become invisible to them because they are not a match for you on a deeper level. And if they do show up, if they do kind of get in, they creep in somehow, you're just like, oh, I recognize this and I understand what this is all about. And I'm not here for that. I'm just not going to do it. And it's a very quiet and powerful decision. It's a very grounded kind of decision. It's not an angry, reactive kind of thing. Like, I'm never going to let this guy do this to me again. I'm never going to meet these losers ever again. And that's not a fully healed position, although it's going to be somewhere in between being fully stepped into that identity during the process. You might be saying things like that and you might be angry and say, I don't want to go through this anymore. Why does this keep happening to me? You might be in that phase. But what I'm saying is when you get to that point, it's like, it's not even a question. It's not an argument in your mind. It's not, you see some people saying like, I'm never going to do this ever again. That was my beginning decision that I made when I first said, this is never going to happen to me again. But it put me on the path of healing where when I came through it and made those decisions, I still had my doubts and things still crept in. But I made the choices that were good for me and I didn't allow myself to sabotage anymore and I went for it. So this is a place you can get to. It's like, it's not even worth it for you anymore. What I'm talking about is dating from trusting yourself instead of hope or fear and swinging between those two. Being like, oh, I really, really hope that this guy turns out to be great. Or I wish I could really meet someone who shows up fully. And you won't have that wanting or longing for someone. It's different from looking forward to the day you meet this amazing guy. What if he's on the way right now? You feel that shift in energy? It's like, oh, I hope that this guy is going to be normal, or I hope he's going to be emotionally available, or I hope he's going to be mature enough that I can have a relationship with him if I like him. Actually, to add that on, you're not even thinking if I like him. You're thinking about him, and that's what I want you to shift away from. The identity of a woman who is healed in this sense, embraces healthy love, asks the question, do I like him? And that's one missing question that I've noticed time and time again. It's like women aren't even asking, do I like him? Do I want to be around him? Getting back to shifting from hoping, wanting, wishing, longing. I wish it was different. I wish there was someone out there for me. I wish I didn't meet guys who are unavailable and I have to chase after them. Going from that to, I really look forward to the day I'm going to meet someone who's really on the level with me, who I'm going to deeply connect with and have that feeling of home. I can't wait for that to happen. I'm really looking forward to it. I really can't wait. And what if he's on the way right now? So can you feel the difference between what I just said and then what I was saying before and the hoping and longings? That's something you can just start doing right now. It's not even that difficult. It's just a shift. It feels uncomfortable. It feels unfamiliar. And yes, maybe the cattle prod feels familiar to you right now, but it's nothing that you can't change. And I want you to leave with that today at the end of this episode with that feeling of, okay, It feels unfamiliar, and that's okay because I can lean into what I'm truly looking for. I can choose what's best for me. I can learn how to do that and going from chasing to choosing. So I hope this has been helpful today. And if calm feels unfamiliar right now, that doesn't mean something's wrong with you. It usually means your nervous system is still wired for chaos. And so I created the magnetic love bundle to help women gently reset that so healthy love can actually feel safe and natural. So if you're interested in that, you can go to my website, stopchasingunavailableguys.com. I have a shop page, and you can go to the magnetic love bundle, which it helps your body catch up to the truth that you can embody this. And this is where emotional healing begins, learning to feel safe with the calm. I hope you've enjoyed this episode. Our next episode is continuing on with embodying and integrating. We're talking about releasing the identity of the emotional caretaker. You're not too much, you're just used to overgiving. So I'm really excited about that, and I will see you next time.